always hated my parents. I used to love them. But now I cannot remember how it felt like to love them. It is as though I was born hating them, especially my mother. Sometimes I find myself trying to forgive and love them or even practice it. But anger just comes gushing like a sea wave on a windy day and floods my heart, and I start hating them all over again. My name is Yamkela TYWAKADI. I am from South Africa, and I am a writer and a publisher. The best thing about being a writer in South Africa today is that you can write about anything you want to write about. There's no red tape on writers. We've got a freedom of speech. We've got a freedom of writing about anything that you want to write about. What's not so great is the distribution of books in my country. There's a lot of rules in the book fraternity in that, for example, if you are a self-published author, it's very hard for you to get books into the bookstores. I'm not self-published, but it's just so hard to get distributed, to get, especially as a Black African writer. It's your work is not as celebrated as those of your white colleagues. The best thing about South Africa, I think, is just the people. We are so diverse as the people. I love our languages. I love our vibe and our culture. We are funny. We are so funny. Even when we go through stuff, we are able to laugh at ourselves and make jokes about ourselves, you know. I love our food. It's so rich. I love our culture, the way we dress up, the way we are just colorful. Yeah. My education is very complex. I grew up in a village in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa, in a very small town, very small town that only has one street. And so I grew up in this village, and I went to a village school. I went to mud houses, a school that was made out of mud houses. I went to Wits University. I did BA in African Languages and Media Studies, which is an undergrad. And then I did an honors degree in African Languages. And then I did a second honors degree in Publishing Studies. I think the most difficult for me is coming up with the title of the book. That takes me months to in most books. Some books it just comes just like that, but most books it takes me months to come up with a title. The most easiest is when I've gotten the plot and I just go. And I think I've taught myself to, what I used to do before was a plot would come and the story would guide me. And then I'd be like, no, maybe I should take this angle, you know. And I've realized that when I do not follow the story as it guides me, I take my own route, it doesn't have great results. So now I've learned that I follow the story as it guides me, and it's easier for me to do that, to do that way. I think when you start writing, you do not think you've got a public duty. You just think, I've got something to tell, and that's it. But once you are published and people know you as a published writer, it's as though it's not announced that, okay, now you've got a public duty, you know, to stand up or stand against some social issues in the community or in the society. And I think you just realize later that actually, wait, I am now serving the public, you know. I definitely think the state should, especially, I don't know about other countries, but I know especially in Africa, or South Africa at least, I think the state really, really, really needs to support writers. But what I've noticed is that sponsors, sometimes, not all the sponsors, but sometimes they feel the need to then control the process. Do you get what I mean? So I really think that the state needs to be able to support writers, but stay away and not control what they're writing about and how it needs to happen and all those things. Just support them in terms of, I think the biggest one is financially. Writers usually have to write, but at the same time have a daytime job to make ends meet. And then you find that writing takes forever because you do not have enough time to write. So the first one is No Violet Bulawayo. The title of the book is We Need New Names. And I remember at the beginning laughing so hard as I'm reading this thing. And then as I continue reading, I find myself crying. And then as I continue reading, I find myself sad. And I had never been before being so captured by someone's writing. What I like about her writing is that she writes about social issues in Zimbabwe that are so dire and affecting the citizens really badly. But she finds a way to say it in such a humorous manner, but at the same time, while you are laughing, you find yourself crying because it's so real. You know it's so real, and you put yourself in the shoes. She has a way to make you get into the shoes of the Zimbabwean citizens and feel the pain. So I'm working on a fiction book. The title of the book is Still She Rose, which was inspired by Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise. The angle is that these are the women who built who they are during the apartheid period. And why did I focus on that? I focus on that because during that time, the system made sure that as a black person, you do not amount to anything. And for me, I thought here, and especially as a woman, and here are the women who built who they are during that system, and they have broken any door, any wall that was a hindrance to their path. I'm not saying this because I'm in Iowa or I'm giving praise. No, this is not praise at all. It's the truth. I've been here for almost 3 months now, and I haven't had even one incident of racism. I remember the first 2 weeks, I said, okay, I'll give the city 2 weeks to prove itself. And after 2 weeks, I was like, no ways. There is no way, because I know in my country, like places, cities that are very white, the moment you enter that city, you can feel that you're not accepted here. But I have not felt that way. Iowa is compared to every place that I've been that is very white, I haven't experienced any racism. So that really shocked me.